How long have you guys been there for? You weren't supposed to see all of this. I'm so sorry about the mess. I didn't know you guys would be here so early. I just lost track of time. I've been working on a novel, which is really exciting, or at least it was a novel. That's how it started, but I think at this point it might just be gibberish, so. I think there is a chance that I've written the longest, most boring thing in the history of writing, which is super cool. But it's fine. It's fine. No, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to feel bad for me. I have a lot going for me right now, like this TV show. So, oh, speaking of, I think now that you guys are here, our guest is ready too. So, are you ready? Let's go. Hey, Noah. It's good to see you.
Hey, Jaina. Good to see you too.
Hi, everyone. You made it. This is my good friend Noah. Noah's a filmmaker, but he also makes these things called conlangs, basically constructed languages. And so they're just made up languages. And so I thought that Noah would be a really good person for me to talk to as I'm trying to figure out how to write this novel.
Yeah, I mean, when you're creating a conlang, you're creating not just the language's words and grammar, but also its history, culture, and world. You know, languages, we don't just speak them, we live in them. One of the things I find so fascinating about natural languages is how diverse they are, how they develop from the unique experiences of their speech communities. And languages, they become different languages over time. You know, Latin became French, Old Norse became Swedish, Old Chinese became Mandarin, but it's exciting to think about how this all must have sprung from the most basic of elements in the beginning.
Like the beginning of language?
I mean, yeah, there must have been a time before language, right? Like a time before humans used complex sounds to indicate objects and the relationships between objects. And then at some point, someone just must have made some sound that means run or watch out. But why run? Oh, there's a thing right there. But what thing? Oh, a tiger. But sure, let's call it a tiger, right? So then you got to go back to the cave and you got to explain why you don't have any food and how it's not your fault. You know, maybe you'll draw a picture of like food and then the tiger appearing and then y'all running. Written language, right?
Right.
Or if you're shit at drawing, perhaps you could use sounds to indicate what you're trying to refer to. You could say, tiger, and then you point at the picture. And the viewers at home will know that if they see something that looks approximately like this, it is probably a tiger and they should run. Now that's a very general example, but that's pretty much how it goes, and the rest is forgotten or neglected history.
Like the ancient raccoon wars.
The what now?
The ancient raccoon wars? That's what my book's about.
The ancient... Oh, okay. You know, I can tell you put a lot of work into this fictional world.
It's not fictional. The raccoon wars actually happened, like centuries ago, in the 80s.
I don't think you can call a non-fiction piece a novel.
Okay, but if words are made up, then anything can be anything, right? Like, that's a tiger.
Whoa.
And that's an orange.
Whoa.
And that is...
Hey, Jaina, wait.
What? I was just gonna say my really good friend.
You know, it's good to see the potential of language, but the language you create won't be very useful if it's completely arbitrary or devoid of meaning.
Okay, well, I think oranges are very meaningful.
I mean, I agree, but language only works if other people play the game.
Feels like when I try and talk to people about my art, I make things because I feel kind of like I have to, you know, like there's something inside me that I'm trying to get out and visualize and look at so I can deal with it. But then once I've done that and I have this product, this thing that I have to show to the world, and then nobody really cares how I got there. It's like, is it digestible? What does it mean? Do they understand it? And I don't even care about that part. It's like we're talking about two completely different things.
That's a really good example, because I mean, like you said, it's two completely different things. It's on the one hand what you're trying to express, and on the other hand, what the audience is expecting to be communicated to them. And I mean, that's really exactly like language, where the speaker is trying to express something, but there's no guarantee that the hearer will interpret what they intended the way they intended it. So you have a miscommunication between expression, and attempted communication. So really, it is the same thing, and I think that's a very fascinating analogy.
I'm worried that people aren't going to get my book.
You mean that they're not going to know how to speak raccoon? I mean, it's definitely possible. But maybe what you could do is you could create a guide that shows them how they can speak raccoon. I could help you with that if you want.
It's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Check. Duolingo. English speaker.
But you're speaking raccoon right now.
Hello, welcome to the show. This is a show called How Nice. I'm your host, Lucas. On this show, we talk about how nice plants are, and by extension, Mother Earth that holds them. I wish I had a mother to hold me. We're gonna talk about a plant that you likely have in your home. Everyone knows this plant, everyone loves this plant. It is the cactus. Let's get into it. Cactus are native to the Americas. There's this other plant called euphorbia that a lot of people think is cactus, but it's not. That's filled with milky juice, but cactus is filled with translucent juice. But no shade to euphorbia. They're amazing in their own right. However, today is about the cactus, and we're gonna talk so much about the cactus, guys. I'm so excited. Now, cactus are the batteries of the plant world. They're not filled with lithium mined by enslaved children, but they are filled with water, just like you and me. Now, you know how you have to drink all the time? Like, I drink all the time, but cactus can go months, even years without a drink, and they may end up like a raisin. You know how raisins are. But that means nothing when you're filled with translucent, sweet, sweet juice. We can't keep talking about cactus unless we mention spines. Okay, we've mentioned them. Moving on. I'm just joshing you. I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about spines, okay? You may have noticed that cactus are just balls or pillars of tough green skin. They're plants. Where are the leaves? Plants are supposed to have leaves. It is good that you're asking questions. This is evidence of a young, bright mind. Now, in the desert, leaves can be a problem. You see, there's this thing called
Water.
Water! It leaves plants through transpiration. You may have noticed plants withering in a drought. The bigger leaf that you have, the more surface area for water to escape. If you're in the desert, you want to trap the water. Keep it all to your little green self. What's the answer? Spines. It's spines. You turn your leaves into spines and photosynthesize through your stem. This reduces water loss and provides a multitude of other benefits for the cactus. It can provide shade and it can provide defense. Maybe you were in the grocery store and there's a little cactus in the aisle that didn't want you to touch it, but you touched it and you got a little prick, got a little ouchie. You didn't know any better then, but you know better now, don't you? I, for one, am not very good at defending myself. In fact, I'm downright helpless most of the time. Let's be honest. I wish I could replace my arms with spines. Perhaps then, people would respect my boundaries a little better. Wouldn't that be nice?
Hey, what the hell is going on? I'm trying to sleep here.
Damn it.
Whoa, 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 such strong language. What the fuck is that all about?
I don't know how to finish my novel.
But the squirrel comic you started writing when you were 8 years old?
It's not a squirrel comic anymore. It's a historical novel. I'm writing a guide on how to read raccoon so that people can translate the text.
Well, as someone who's known you your entire life, I can say right now that I still don't know what the hell you're talking about. Your command of the English language is less than impressive.
Well, come on, give me some credit. What about that time that we played Scrabble? I got that triple word score.
That was Sudoku, and you just wrote random letters in the blank spaces.
What's your point?
My point is that language has rules, traditions, conventions.
Oh, like anime conventions?
Look, my real point is that you can't communicate your ideas. You just say shit. It's like a mumbo jumbo of shit.
Well, I'm just like, trying to give people a new perspective.
No, no, no! People don't want new perspectives. They want the perspectives they already have to be validated.
What do you mean?
Well, take me for example. You're not going to change my mind because I don't want you to. And you're not going to change other people's minds with that silly little book of yours. People at some point get stuck in their own little realities. And there's nothing you can do, no rhetoric in the world that can get them unstuck. The gap between what you mean and what is understood is wide and yawning.
I always forget how much fun it is to hang out with you.
I'm just saying.
You're like the world's grumpiest self-help book.
Self-help book. Now there's a market where there's money to be made.
Right, because now you care about helping people and changing lives.
What? What? Oh God, no. I'm just saying that you'll probably be able to sell a few more of those than your, what was it called?
Historical novel.
That's right. Look, Jaina, I'm just trying to help you here. Trying to be your friend, right?
Are we friends?
Well, we're close. But don't worry, Jaina, I won't lead you astray. I only care about what's best for you.
You talk a big game about how incomprehensible everything is, and at least I have something to say, something that could bring light or energy into this world, and I know what I want to convey. You're just always over there just talking this really empty talk. It's really lame.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Strong language! But look at you, look! You're all fired up! I bet now you could write a great comic book or screenplay or whatever the hell it was.
Historical novel!
Historical novel, that's right. Man, what would you do without me, huh? You gotta admit, I think I'm a big part of this.
I don't think you get to take credit for that.
Oh.
Talking shit and making people feel bad isn't a form of mentorship.
Uh,
It's messed up.
yeah.
I think I'm done talking to you.
All's the better, all's the better. I do have one last thing to say to you.
What?
Pretty weird show, huh? Well, I guess life can be pretty weird altogether. My name is Matthew, and this is Storytime. I'm so excited for this segment and to share my work with you. I'm going to start landing the plane a bit with a little bedtime story. Or, well, a story, all the same. Let's see what we got here. Right. This one is a Greek tale. Classic, right? Not all of the stories I'm going to share are myths, but I wanted to start off with an oldie but a goodie. This is about Daphne the Naiad. Now, a naiad is a type of water nymph, a natural spirit that presides over the babbling brooks, flowing fountains, and other running waters. Local cults revere them as essential to life. Daphne was a naiad of the river Ladon. She spent her days whispering to the bubbles and chasing the freshwater fish up and down the streams. Her favorite tree to perch on was a laurel tree. She would perch above the humans, watching them giggle through the woods and play. The life of a naiad was a fluid life, filled with rain and steam and winter's ice. Then one day, the great lute-playing Olympian Apollo took note of her and became quite fixated. The Roman poet Ovid claims Apollo was struck by Cupid's arrow of love, the oldest excuse in the book. Apollo stood before the base of her favorite tree and pleaded for her hand. He played the lute and sang softly of her flowing hair, her flowery features, and her form. Giggling, she refused his advances. Upon this refusal, Apollo's soft, doting expression wrinkled into a sneer of cold contempt. "You will be my bride," he called out as he began scaling the tree. Now, this, for very good reason, freaked Daphne out. She's like, "Okay, yeah, I'm out of here," and begins spiriting across the island. She burrowed in the mud and blended in with the frogs. She turned to vapor and hung in the sky like a cloud. She dove into the water and sought purchase on the tongue of an oyster. But wherever she went, Apollo followed, using the light of the morning sun to seek her out even into the night. "My life was once filled with foam from the fountain and the conversation with the canaries and doves. Now it is a constant flight, with constant fear, pursued by Apollo constantly," she lamented. And through the wood, she could hear him shout, "Daphne, my bride!" So Daphne crouched low and spoke with the soil. She prayed to the earth for protection from her pursuer. She sought peace and solidarity. And as Apollo broke through the tree line and gained sight of her, she lost sensation in her limbs. Coarse bark grew rapidly over her breasts. Her hair sprouted into leaves, her arms into thin branches. Her feet, so swift a moment ago, became rooted into the earth. And slowly, her face was lost in green and gold until only her glimmering beauty was left. Apollo stood before the newly formed laurel tree, disappointed but still undeterred. "If you will not be my bride, then you will be my tree, and I will use your branches to wreath my lute, my lure, and the locks of my hair." And he formed a crown with the laurel branches. Afterward, he dashed into the sky, seeking another beauty to pursue. And below stood Daphne, growing in solidarity with the other trees. I'm not sure why I think about that story so frequently. Perhaps it's because laurel wreaths are what we give the most prestigious people on Earth. It's a sacred symbol of the Olympians. It's that little symbol we see on DVD covers when the movies win an Emmy or an Oscar. Do they still make DVDs? I'm so excited to share my next story with you. I've been searching far and wide and have curated quite a collection. I'll bind them in this book so as to catalog them. You see, I consider myself a storyteller, and storytelling is an important job. We're here to entertain, to provoke, to comfort, to take you through the range of possible human experiences, and potentially even invent new ones. Some are proposing that AI will replace storytellers, that it's possible to break down stories into formulas and conventions that work every time, or at least enough of the time. I don't believe that it's possible for AI to create art. Although it is something to think about, artificial intelligence, art intelligence, they both are related to the word artifice, which is a form of deception or trickery. So perhaps it's possible to consider AI art in that it's mischievous. But the human condition is messy and contradictory and rooted in emotion. So it may be efficient, but is it art? I am a little nervous about the role of AI in the creative industry, though. Part of me feels compelled to prove to you the value of stories. So allow me to find the very best ones for you, to prove to you that perhaps we humble storytellers are not quite obsolete. Hope to see you in the next episode. And maybe the next time you watch the Olympics or see the laurel wreath adorned, think of Daphne. Think of where the wreath comes from. Think of rain and steam and winter's ice. Good night, everyone.